Yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next topic. Supernova, go ahead and hit us with it.
All right, man. The next topic is over Palworld. Chat, y'all still out here playing this game? I'm just curious, man. Palworld started off the beginning of this year, January 19th, as reported on Insider Gaming. Quickly skyrocketed to one of the most popular games, and one of the most games played ever, to $2.1 million. But since then, a lot of people have been putting the game back down. Says that the counts were hovering around at the beginning of March around like 275,000 daily players. The game consistently lost thousands of players per day, down to a 24-hour peak of just 69,850 people, man. So initial thoughts, man. What do you think about this, Skellington?
Initial thoughts. Thoughts. I don't know what the fuck. Initial thoughts. I'm part of the drop off. I'm not surprised by this. I mean, people played the shit out of it, and they had no more to do. I'm sure it's like a lot you can build upon, but people played the shit out of this game. So that's once they got to the end of it and got to what they could, the cap and everything they could do, they're done playing, and they got through it fast, man. That and Helldivers was the start of the drop off. People started to, I think that was a little start to sway away from the power a little bit, and then it's just we're getting more games coming out, so it's they need that's my initial thoughts, I'll say.
Yeah. What about you, Viking? What are your initial thoughts?
I mean, the game didn't have any. Listen, people hate live service, but the game ain't have no live service elements. So that drip feed of content or dopamine hits wasn't there, and which I appreciate because I know I can just come back whenever I want, right? Right. I'm not missing out on nothing, right? So it's not free to play, right? So people already paid for this shit unless you got Game Pass, right? Like, I can just hop in whenever I want and then continue where I was. Like, I don't have any. Now, they are adding like PvE and more raid bosses and stuff like that later on down the line. They just didn't expect this shit to take off the way it did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think paying for the game and having live service elements to a non-sequel would have probably been detrimental to them. I think they did it the right way. I mean, I'm sure it's accidental success, right? But the drop off is crazy. But again, that could have been like from the 2 million probably if it had live service elements already built within it, or quickly came like a battle pass or whatever the fuck, then it probably wouldn't have dropped down nearly as much. You know what I mean? It'd probably be like 200 to 400,000 players right now, minimum probably. But yeah, I mean, people hate. I think this is a good case for. It's more nuanced than this, and it's multifaceted. So it could be other reasons why the drop off happened. Like Skell said, people played the shit out of it when it first came out. More games released, but live service keeps players engaged. You know what I mean?
Formula works. The live service formula is a surefire way if you got the loop right. It works.
Yeah. Like, people want the game to come out and it's great and not have any live service elements, right? But like, this is what happens, bro. Like, people need that constant, like, all right, what's dropping next month, and then get back in, you know what I mean, and grind that out. As much as we all hate it, we're here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. At the end of the day, what's the goal? Like, is the goal to have like a good game, or is the goal to have a lucrative game for as long as possible? You know what I mean? Because like you said, some of the people had to have paid for the game, so they made a decent amount of money with the launch they had. So they they already have the money to continue the development. But yes, like you said, it's not a live service game, so the fall off just kind of looks kind of normal, to be honest. As people play games, they play it, beat it, move on to the next thing. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and then like to your point, they what do you call it? Like it is a balance between like making a good game, right? That's what the developers want to do, right? Is make a good game and make an engaging game. And the publisher is like, we need as much money as possible. So it's like finding that thin line of how do we accomplish both, I guess? Like how do we make a good game and it also be engagement off the charts to where people are coming back for more and more and more and spending more and more money. You know what I mean? Like all these looter shooters, not looter shooters, but I mean, some looter shooters are a great example, but battle royales are a great example of how do we, Fortnite is a good game. Apex Legends is a good game. Even if you take the live service elements out of it, it's a good game. But if you strip that away from it, that shit probably would have died 2-3 years ago.
Boy, what? Fortnite would have been done. What? If they didn't keep on the grind of updating that game as much as it is, having the culture in its back pocket of releasing new people, actual people, it's like...
And borrowing songs and dances.
Yep.
Borrowing.
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Borrowing is crazy.
Borrowing is crazy.
It's like we gonna can't borrow some money then if you go borrow.
Yeah, borrow some money.
Shit.
Yeah.
I get back to you when I get paid next week. We all done heard that. Let me hold some. I'll get back to you.
Absolutely. That's nuts, bro. Yeah, so that's at least my thoughts on it.
So Skell. So where do you think the goal is, man? Do you think that it's developing a game that you continue to get money from live service games, or do you think the goal is to actually make a good game for the consumer?
Oh man, with business comes greed. I feel like whatever gives them the money. I feel like the goal and it might be different per developer. I'll say that some people might have the goal in mind to make a game that just is a good game. You know what I mean? And I feel like I kind of feel like Palworld came out that way too. They didn't expect this level of success. They just made a good game. It didn't cost them a lot to make, in hindsight of Spider-Man's and things like that. So I think them specifically, I think they were trying to just put out something good, something to put in their, in their resume that we can build a game and that's worth, and we got a hype name or a hype theme to it, which is Pokemon with guns. So it's like they were actually trying to put their name and game out there. The goal for a lot of these companies is to get the bread, though. They are trying to they say put it out. Put it out. Hey, this ain't no, but we have problems. We don't know it. Hey, just put it out.
Put it out.
Put it out. Matter of fact, it ain't done yet. Put a battle pass in it, baby.
Put a battle pass in it. Once they see 30 levels, they don't care. They have to grind. So on that end of it, I will say yes. Some of them are just trying to get the bread. You just play some of these games, you could tell this what I think Multiverses was the most recent slap in the face with them trying to get bread off of us. It's like, bro, battle pass in this, what are y'all doing? Like, so I guess it just depends.
Yeah For me, man, I think the goal is just like you said, I think the larger of the company that's making the game, the goal leans more and more towards funds. If it's a small indie dev, I think they still have a lot of ability to kind of flex and maneuver and make a game that maybe they would like to play. But as far as, in the gaming industry, I feel like, for instance, like Insomniac, right? They're stuck making one type of game, So they got their hands tied behind their back. But smaller the devs, the more game focused, I feel, man.
That's why I want to support. I always try to support new IPs, new games, new dots, new versions. I'm trying to always support these companies, bro, because not only that, they're putting everything into it. This is it's a make or break for them. For a lot of these indies, it's like we kind of have to put something good out. We know what's at risk. The big companies, they'll just fire They'll just, hire AI. They'll just, do what they need to do. They got it like that. Knowing that, those companies would have ROI people looking for that. So, like I said, I always say the ROI. They want it. So that's why, man, we got to support new IPs, man. Just support the indie, support. And when they get big, then, you can do it then. But we already, we support them to them making good stuff. And hopefully when you get a good 3 games out of it before they sell out. And there's nothing wrong with selling out. That's the point of all the businesses. Okay.
Build a business to sell it. Make money.
Build a business to sell it. We get it. But your first one games, little indie developers, just put your heart into it. I'll play it. I promise.
Nah, but that's a great point, Skell. Like Viking, I'm gonna ask you this question, man, because while we're talking about indie developers and how important they are, which I agree that they're very important, especially for the gamers, for us, So, do you think that Xbox Game Pass does a good job of supporting indie developers? What do you think about that?
Nigga, yes. 1,000%, bro. Like, listen, there's so many games that I've played that I would have never purchased, right? Like, there's a couple indies here and there, like throughout the year that I was like, oh, this shit looks tight, or I heard good things about this. I'll pick up, right? But Game Pass just lets you, it's like having Blockbuster at home, bro. Like, you it's like, let me just try this really quick. You know what I mean? And pick it up, man. I did that shit with Brotato, Spider Heck. Me and the kids play that shit. God, what other indies are out there?
Shit, Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors, 100%.
Like, I was hooked to
massive,
that.
Bro. Massive. God. Yeah, there's just way too many indie games, bro, like to put on there. And it gives it a good spotlight, right? So that whenever the developer, like you see the developer's name, the developer comes out with a sequel, you're like, yep, I remember that. And it might not be on Game Pass, but at least you got the exposure with the game. Like, because when Vampire Survivors 2 comes out in 5-10 years for $30-$40, that's out there, right? Like, it was like, yeah, that was heat, bro. I'm gonna buy the second one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's fucking fantastic, bro. Like, I really like the id and Xbox program that they have where they spotlight indie devs. Yeah, they do a fantastic fucking job, bro. Like with indie developers, bro. Like, hats off to them.
Yeah,
for that. Yeah. What y'all think?
You got anything to add to that, Skell? Because I feel like he had a bar already.
I agree with like what Viking was saying, just because I would have never played so many games if it wasn't for Game Pass. Like, one on my pockets, you know what I mean? Like, indie developers, I have nothing against what you're putting out. I just can't afford it all the time.
So many games.
So many games. So I think that, especially because I like that. I just sometimes when I just don't have anything to play, I will literally just boot up Xbox Game Pass on my PC and just look and see, and there'll be like 4 new games on there, and I'm like, okay, there's a little what is that, like Power Wash Simulator here, and then
you got a game at every level,
Brotato here, and then you have Remnant 2 over there, random. It's like, dang, like this is, you can literally log in one day, have 4 different games to play, and go. That'll take you your whole 24 hours of content that you need as far as that stuff goes. You can get through so much, man. I would have never played Vampire Survivors if it wasn't for Game Pass. When I say I love that game, that was my game. I was playing that, like in between life, I was always playing that game. So I would have never played that if it wasn't for Game Pass. So shout out to the Game Pass, and shout out to No More Heroes 3. Just beat that. I'm beating games from Game Pass. Like, I'm getting games and beating them. These are not like, it's just, shout out to Game Pass.
Yeah, I pop on and I see Skell on a different game all the time, bro. Like, he just be on him. He be gaming, bro.
Yeah.